Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So in this video, we are going to see one interesting automation. So in this automation, we are going to automate backup of Azure repos to the storage account. So for the storage account capability, we are going to use Azure Storage account, and to perform this automation, we are going to use shell script. So let's get started. So a little bit of introduction about Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is basically a SaaS offering provided by Microsoft Azure itself, right? So it provides all the necessary DevOps services and DevOps tool sets to take care of your entire software development lifecycle itself, right? In terms of develop, build, and deploy. So it provides the entire DevOps ecosystem, right? So the kind of services it provides are Azure repos, pipelines, artifacts, test plans, and Azure boards, right? So and Azure Repos is part of Azure DevOps, and it's basically a cloud-based version control system. So at the moment, you can see that your data are going to be managed, and it is going to be saved in the cloud provided servers. It's not going to be saved in your data center. So there are a lot of security threats and security risks are involved in this, right? So although Azure, takes care of, Azure have all the security systems and mechanisms in place, right? But still, we need to have our own backup system in place, to tackle all the disaster in case of, any disaster, right? So like about the SaaS offering itself, right? It has got a lot of advantages, right? In terms of quick setup, in terms of availability, scalability, in terms of maintenance of the infrastructure, ownership, all those things are going to be taken care by the Azure or the cloud provider itself. But on the downside, that you don't have any control over it. You cannot do any customization. That's basically the downside of the SaaS offering, and we need to rely on the provider itself, in terms of security, in terms of backup, replication, and all those things, right? So that is why, we have this automation, and at the moment, there is no out-of-the-box solution available from Microsoft itself to back up, all the Azure repos. So that is why, performing this automation. So the automation use case, so we are going to back up all the repositories in a project within an organization. So when you take Azure DevOps organization, you will have like a lot of multiple projects, and each project will have like multiple repositories, right? So we are going to take backup of everything. And once the data is backed up, we are going to upload to the storage account, and we are going to run the script from Azure Pipelines. And this script is going to be run, periodically. You can schedule it, it can be run on daily basis or like weekly basis, depends on your requirement. And this slide is about what is the need for the code backup, right? So I have mentioned few points. So first is the disaster recovery. This is the ultimate purpose itself, right? The disaster can happen in different ways. It can be due to natural calamity or hardware failure or accidental deletion, or even Azure outages itself, right? So if those disaster happens, what is your business continuity plan in place, right, to tackle this disaster? So that is the first and foremost reason for having the backup plan. And second is being the security threat. So we are in the digital era that we are prone to all these attacks, right? Cyber attacks, hacking, and all those things are happening, and we happen to see that the ransomware issue occurred a few years back. So there is a need, definitely, there is a need to tackle all the security risks and threats, correct? And third point is migration and local backup. So when you want to migrate from one version control to another version control, for example, like one source code management to another source code management, it's good to have the backup in one place, and it's always good to have the centralized local backup of your data. And fourth point is compliance. So in some industries and some domains, and even in some countries, to meet the legal complaints, it's mandatory to have the backup and maintain the backup, periodically. So these are the different reasons to have the backup, and especially the code backup. Okay, so let's get into the script itself. So to perform this automation, we have some prerequisites, right? So we need to have Azure DevOps organization with access to Azure repos and Azure pipelines, because we are going to take backup of Azure repos, and to execute the script, we need Azure pipelines. Okay, so this is our number one prerequisite. And the second is personal access token. So here, how we are going to do this automation is, we are going to access Azure DevOps organization using REST API calls. Okay. So to perform REST API calls, you need to have access to the Azure DevOps organization, which means, using tokens only we can access the ADO. So we need a personal access token. Hope you know like how to create personal access token. If you go to your project, dashboard, and if you go to the user settings, and you can see the personal access tokens, and you can see like a couple of tokens got created, and you can create a new token. So you can provide a new token, and with respect to the organization, like this is your organization name, you can provide the expiration date. So 30 days or something, and you can provide full access or custom defined. So always go with the principle of least privilege, provide custom defined, and here for our use case, you can provide access to the code basically. Okay. So I have already created the PAT token, I mean the personal access token. So that is our another prerequisite. So this token will help us to access Azure DevOps organization using the REST API calls. Okay. The third is service connection to the Azure subscription. So once we have taken the backup, we are going to upload the backup to the Azure Storage account. So for that, the Azure DevOps, the pipelines need to access Azure subscription, which is having the Azure Storage account. So for that, we need to establish a connection, right? So we need a service connection. If you go to the project and project settings, you can see the service connection, right? So I have already created a service connection here, right? So I have already created a service connection to the Azure subscription. So please create it, right? And then finally, like we need a Azure storage account with container created. So since we are going to upload the data to the storage account, so I have already created a storage account. So I have a storage account in place. So this is my storage account, and I have created a container already called repo backup, right? So I have this prerequisite ready again. So finally, like we need to have the storage account access key, right? So when you go to the storage account, you get the access key. So have all this ready. And how we are going to approach this script is, basically we are going to access Azure DevOps organization. So this is the REST API call to access the organization. If you see, we are going to access organization. I think this is a little bit wrong. So this repositories won't come. So we're going to access Azure DevOps organization using this REST API call. And once we have access to the organization, we are going to collect all the project information, and then like we are going to filter out only the project names, and then we are going to loop all the project names to access all the repositories. So we are going to make another API call to each project, and we're going to collect all the repository information. So once we have collected all the repository information, and we basically get the repository names, okay, we'll filter out and get only the repository names. So once we get the repository name, we are going to execute git clone command. Okay, so git clone command, we are going to it's HTTP URL we are going to run, and we are going to pass the repository name. Okay, and finally, like we are going to use Azure Storage blob upload command to upload to the storage account. Okay, so let's check the script. So the script is taking few input parameters like PAT token, storage account name, container name, container storage account key. So these three are related to the storage account itself, and then the organization's name, your ADO organization name. So the script is taking these five input parameters, and these parameters are going to be passed from the Azure Pipelines. Okay, I will show you that how we are passing. So once it has received all these information, so what it is going to do, so at the moment, like my organization has got like only one project, so I've just declared a list array, and I've mentioned my project. So in your case, like if you have multiple project, you can expand the array itself. Okay, so once we have the list of project information in place, project names, we are going to loop the project names, right? We're going to loop each project, And then like if you see that we have a for loop, outer for loop in place, so we are going to loop each project, and we are going to make an API call. Okay, see here in this API call, what we are doing is we are pausing the organization name, we are pausing the project name, whatever the project from the list, it is going to pass one by one, and we are going to collect all the repository information. Right, once you have collected all the repository information, it will have like a lot of information like repository URL, description, repository name. So what we are actually interested is repository names only. So we are just filtering out, removing all the unnecessary information and getting only the names. So using set command, we are removing all the unnecessary information. So this variable will have the list of the repo names. Okay, and then what we are doing is we are looping that list actually. So we are looping that list and we are taking backup of the repository like one by one. So we are pausing each repository names, and we are doing a git clone. So you can see here we are doing a git clone, and you can see we are pausing a pad token here. Here also like we are pausing a pad token. So that is how authenticate to your organization using API call. So here also by the git clone, we are pausing the pad token, the organization name, and the project name, and this is going to be your repo name. So one by one it's going to be paused. So this inner loop is basically like you take one project and you clone all the repositories in the project. If you have like multiple project, then the outer loop is going to get into like one project and then clone all the repositories, and likewise for all the repositories for that particular project, it is going to be cloned. Okay, so once once a repository is cloned, what we are actually doing is we are like zipping that repository, and we are doing some manipulations basically. So for each project, we are creating one directory and we are pushing in all the repositories to the directory, so that it will be like easy to do the upload. Okay, so here you can see after zipping up, we are just creating a project directory for each project, and we are just copying our repository to the directory, so that each project will have its own directory, like a folder for each directory. So it will have like all the repositories related to that. So once it is done, what we are doing, we are executing Azure Storage blob command, right? So Azure Storage blob command, you can see here we are the inputs required are storage account access key, and then the container name, and this is the name is going to be the name of the folder inside the container, right? So inside the container, we are going to create a blob based on the project name. So inside container, like you will have a folder for each project. Okay, and inside that project, we are going to have the zip of each repository, right? And this is going to be the source data file. Source data file, from the Azure Pipelines, after it got created, the source file. So we are just referencing that source file and the override true. If at all, there is a backup available with the same name, we are going to override it. So this is about the script, basically. So let me show you the pipeline. So this is my pipeline. So I have created a classical pipeline only. Like if at all you want to know, you can create a YAML based pipeline. So here I'm using Azure CLI task. So here in this task, I'm using like script type of shell, and performing using script path, not the inline one, right? The script path, and I have just referenced to the script path. Okay, and then you can see here, these are the script arguments we are passing: path, storage account, container name, account key, and organization name. So all this information are passed from the variables, the pipeline variables. So I've already encoded these variables: storage account key, path, and all those things. So if you're using a YAML based, there are different ways you can pass variables to your pipelines, right? In YAML based pipeline, you pass it differently. But for the simplification purpose, I'm just pausing using Azure pipelines and making use of pipeline variables, right? So that's about the script, nothing fancy. I mean, that's about the pipeline, nothing fancy. So let's trigger it. Okay, so let's execute it to see. Sorry. So this is my storage account. I think I already have one file. Let me delete it. Okay, to see the new file getting uploaded. So pipeline is queued. So you can see here. So first, what's happening is, it's connecting to the Azure subscription, and first it is backing up the project name. So the project name is my project. So these are the repositories available for the project. Sorry. So the repositories available for the project are these four: Terraform, My Project, Automation, and Confluent. If you go and see here, so these are the projects available. So these are the repositories available. So basically, it's logging into that, getting into that project using the API call, and it is collecting all the repository information, and then like getting into each repository and cloning that repository. So here the project name, my project, and then the repository is the Terraform. So it is cloning the Terraform. So likewise, it is cloning all the repositories. So my project, um, automation. So likewise, it is going to clone all your repositories. Correct. So once everything has been, all the repositories has been cloned, you can see here, we are creating a directory or folder for each project, and we are moving. For example, the zip files are actually moved to this project. So this project directory. So the project directory is named in such a way that, the project name, the backup, and then the date, when the backup has been done. And then like once it has been done, like the Azure upload, the command will be running. So it is going to upload. You can see the upload status. So it got uploaded and it is successful, right? And you can go to the storage account. You can see and refresh. You can see a project folder got created now, and you can see, yeah, zip file got created. Okay, so you can download the zip file, and you can see like what's inside this. So the zip file is basically 302 MB, right? So when it's getting downloaded, let's see like so you have this pipeline is in place, right? And you can basically schedule this pipeline, correct, to run on daily or weekly basis, based on your. So if you edit and go to the triggers, you can see the schedule. So at the moment, like I'm not scheduled, you can schedule it, right? So this is the way you can schedule it, when you're using Azure Classic pipeline. So when you're using ML pipeline, there are something, which is there is a scheduled keyword. Using that, you need to add the schedule basically. So for the classic way, this is how you can do it, like which days, on specific days also, like you can trigger it, which branch you need to trigger. So all the setup, you can do, so that the automation or this backup will be done on regular basis, in an automated way, right? So the data is backed up, I guess. Downloading the file, please do not close this play. Just wait for a few seconds, please. So let's see, it has got downloaded. So where is the folder? Let me get into it directly. Okay, so here is the downloaded one, I guess. It's still downloading. I think it's taking time. So let me show the downloaded one already. So just some time back, have downloaded. So just unzip this file. And So this is your folder, and if you get inside, you will see the zip of each repository. You can get into any of these and you can extract, create a folder, and it will create a folder. And if you check inside the folder, you will see like all the files relevant to that repository. If you check this repository also, like you'll be seeing the same. So if you get into the Terraform repository, you will see like the files, and all these files will be available here. So that's it from my side. That's about the automation. So please let me know in comments, if you have any clarification, and I'll be providing a GitHub link so that you can see all these information. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.